Melody Farris is accused of murdering her husband, Gary Farris. She's facing 3 charges: murder with malice, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and concealing the death of another. On July 5th, 2018, Farris's son discovered his father's remains on a burn pile on the family property. Melody Farris was arrested almost a year later in Tennessee. Investigators determined Gary died of a gunshot wound. They found a bullet in Farris's ribs. They had also found droplets of Gary's blood all over the home.
What was going on inside that sprawling home, sprawling property in Georgia? Prominent attorney shot and then burned, and they're saying his wife did it. Well, it looks like the defense is pointing their finger at one of the kids in the family, who are all adults, but children of this couple. So got some high drama inside the courtroom. Let's go to Cherokee County, Georgia, Canton, Georgia. Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson joins us tonight. Wow, it's hard to believe this is happening with this family who seemingly had everything, right? They had a prominent attorney making tons of money, living a beautiful life, beautiful property. Today, a big day, Matt. Big day inside the courtroom. Key witness taking the stand for the prosecution.
Yeah, Gary and Melody's son, their oldest son, Chris Farris, was on the stand today, really describing the family dynamic as turmoil, constant infighting, describing it as a soap opera that he was living his life through. He said that he didn't like to go to the family farm because his mom and dad were constantly fighting. His dad was also sharing things about feeling like his mom was trying to kill him. And then he talked about the awkward moment when he kind of started to think that maybe mom was involved in dad's demise. Take a listen.
At this point in time, my brain had kind of already switched to thinking something had happened to him that wasn't falling in a fire.
Why did it switch?
Because of my mother's behavior when the police were there and just how she was acting.
What was that behavior? How was she acting?
Just not like somebody whose husband had just been found in a burn pile.
When you heard about the bullet in his rib, what was going on in your head?
I just remember crying. Like after I got off the phone with them, I just sat on the couch and me and Jenna just cried together.
He talked about also how his dad felt that his wife of 38 years, this defendant, was trying to embarrass him at family functions and other events, and how one time she brought her boyfriend Rusty to his sister's wedding.
Drama. All this drama taking place. Let's talk about those family dynamics. How much did the witness, Chris, the son, talk about family dynamics today?
Yeah, he was really talking about what we touched on yesterday in our reporting about how the family and the children, the Farris children, are divided and on separate sides when it comes to this court case and how it's been playing out. There has been no support for this defendant from her 4 children or any other family members for that matter. Behind her in the gallery, everyone sits behind the prosecution, those that are not under subpoena. But we have not seen Chris, Scott, Emily, Amanda, or heard from them during this process. Today, Chris talked about how the family has been divided, mainly because of mom and how she acted after the death. Take a listen.
You know, there was at this time a very hard divide in our family. And
What was that divide?
well,
Who was divided?
my brother, Scott, my sister, Emily, and I are on one side, and my mother and Amanda on the other. My mother was not living, but still had kind of a relationship with Amanda. My mother was very much so telling us that we needed to help support her, that we needed to give her money because my father had supported us and given us money all these years, and that we needed to then in turn give her money to speak of my situation, that And I just had my suspicions that she had something to do with this.
Now, we know that the mom, through this process after her arrest, was in contact with Amanda. That may have been the only child of the 4 because she was staying with Amanda. As for the other children, everyone else is estranged because there was some sort of infighting that was happening when this defendant refused to pay for a funeral. And the defense, or I mean the prosecution rather, they want to question Chris about that tomorrow when he's on cross-examination, but he's limited in what he can talk about because they need to establish that money is the motive here, and that's what they told the judge today.
Okay, that's such a huge witness. What other important witnesses took the stand today?
Yeah, another big witness that was on the stand today was a neighbor, an everyday person, and this witness is by the name of Terry Braswell. And during parts of his testimony, he really related to this jury. Members of the jury, they were smiling, they were nodding, but he was actually talking about his relationship with this defendant. He lived near her for a very long time, talked about how she kept a clean house, which is important when you talk about the cleanup of the crime alleged by prosecutors. But he also talked about text messages by this defendant with him, including a very strange text message when she said that she wanted her husband dead. Listen to this.
I hope you die alone in a gruesome death. You see that?
Yeah, I see it. I don't remember that, but it's there.
You don't dispute if they dumped your phone. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And you respond by saying, there you go, he's going to push you over the edge. See that right here? I know, and that scares me. Told him finally to go where could not even see or hear him. It would be in his best interest. Did she say anything else to you about what he had done to make her feel like that?
No. I have no clue what it was other than I didn't get nothing to eat.
Now, on cross, he was questioned about those text messages, saying that you've had your phone for many, many years, and you would text message with this defendant almost every day. And is that the first time and only time that she ever said to you that she wanted her husband dead? And he said yes.
And what's next? What's coming up next in the trial?
Another big witness taking the stand tomorrow, the one that the defense is pointing the finger at, that is the second in line of the Farris children. That's Scott Farris. He was the one living above the barn. He lived on the property. He is a former Army veteran. He called 911, discovered the body, and here is part of that 911 call that was already played to this jury. Take a listen.
My father has come up missing, and we just searched the property. It's a small farm. We've been walking around looking for him, and I went where the fire is still smoldering. And I'm ex-military. I was deployed to Iraq. I've seen what burned up bodies look like, and this looks like a body.
So the defense, in questioning the brother today, was really talking about his stature. This brother that we're going to hear from that discovered this body and also ran across a strange gun in the house at one point in time, a gun that's missing. He is 6'5" and 250 pounds, very fit at the time of the crime.
And I understand, Matt, that today you were not the biggest celebrity at the courthouse.
I definitely was not. We had a star celebrity sighting across the street over at the Canton Town Square. Right there is Julia Roberts walking with some entourage. She wasn't here for the trial. She was actually across the street for a political rally. They were opening another office for the Democratic Party. But you know what? She's someone that I haven't seen in quite a while. Remember, I gave up red carpets in Los Angeles to cover yellow crime scene tape, Vinny.
That's right. And you're loving it. Matt Johnson in Canton tonight. Thanks so much, Matt. All right, let's bring back in our think tank. Daryl, this is the best thing ever for the prosecution, right? We cover a lot of spousal murders through the years because it happens, okay? And if the children are telling this jury it's okay, convict my mother, it makes it that much easier.
You know what I'm hearing, Vinny? Take the evidence and throw it away just for the moment. I'm hearing and watching a family tragedy where all of the kids and all of the relatives are destroyed because of what happened. And yes, we hear this over and over again. But when every child, at least most of the kids, say, Mom and this is the first time she ever said that in a text message. This is horrendous for her. And they're anticipating this trial is going to go for 3 or 4 weeks, by the way.
I've covered so many of these cases. Inevitably, it doesn't matter if they're Harvard educated, it doesn't matter if they're 15 or if they're 40. Generally, children will rally behind their surviving spouse. Not in this family.
Right.
That's not happening.
I mean, so that's what makes this fascinating on a few levels. His testimony, right? The son's testimony. But I think when you combine that with her reaction is where the prosecution is really having a successful day, right? So whenever you are dealing with this kind of case, and yes, this seems to be the theme in a lot of true crime, if you're the defense, you have to prepare your client, if there is this type of difficult family dynamic, to react in an appropriate way that is palatable to the jury. And first of all, if you're a female, you're going to be scrutinized visually all the time, no matter what. That's how it is, gentlemen. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's the truth. When you have this kind of woman sitting there, you cannot have her grimacing and looking so angry,
right,
you know, when she's already been accused of having inappropriate emotions after this alleged murder.
I mean, Molly, let's face it, when it's a female, 99 times out of 100, the jury wants to love her. But I agree with Molly. She's got to look the part. She has to have the right body language, the right facial expressions, the right hairstyle. All of that.
Let me ask you this, though. I think there is one area that I need answered in all of this. I see her in the courtroom. She doesn't look like a big woman. This guy ends up in a burn pile. There's blood in the house. So the body's got to get from there to the burn pile.
Yeah, the physicality of this case starts falling apart. And while I appreciate the emotional load of a surviving parent in this divided family, it's just one side of the story so far. This is a drama with lots of perspectives. So she's going to testify. We're going to hear a lot more. My belief is that tomorrow's the penultimate day because we're going to hear about who the defense is going to try to pin this on, because there was a 6'5", 250-pound ex-military guy who might have an axe to grind against a mom. We've heard all this great stuff about the decedent, which is appropriate. We haven't gotten to hear anything positive about Mom, about what she went through, being married to this hard-charging, incredibly successful, high-pressure lawyer trapped on a farm in somewhat rural Georgia, outside the city where her friends are. We don't know about what he did to her in those 38 years. We know the kids are interested in the money.
Since the 90s, they've been living on separate floors.
She didn't get the money, did she?
I don't know what she got.
So what else is up there?
All right. Well, tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow's the big day, because this is where they're pointing the finger. And 6'5", he could carry that body to the burn pit. Could she have had help?
I mean, that's also interesting, right? And at the end of the day, the jury doesn't have to say, you're not guilty because you didn't do it alone. That's not a defense, right? So if they think she had some sort of role in this, that might be enough.
And remember,
drag the body.
The storylines of
not difficult.
Is mom covering for a kid?
Right.
Is a kid covering for a mom?
Well, we're gonna continue to talk about this.
What horrible thing did Dad do that needed to be hidden?
All right, Think Tank staying with us. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we've got a lot to get to.
The defendant, she liked the life of being married to a rich lawyer. The question you got to answer in this trial is not was he murdered, not how was he murdered, but who did it. The evidence demands the answer that he was murdered. He was shot and killed, put on a burn pile. This burn pile behind his house.
There's the prosecutor from the opening statement laying it all out about this defendant. She liked being married to a prominent attorney, but she murdered him. That's exactly what he is saying. Chris Farris is the son, and what an important witness for this jury to take you inside the family dynamics and what was happening in this family and between this couple. I mean, married for 38 years. That's a long time, 38 years, but apparently for quite some time living on separate floors of this home on the sprawling 10 acres. Take a listen to Chris here talking about one of the first things that he tells police.
They told me that they found a bullet in my father's rib, and now this was being treated as a homicide. And there were some follow-up questions, and they asked me, who would anybody ever benefit from your father being killed? And I was very frank. I said, well, yeah, I mean, my mom.
Wow. Powerful piece of testimony. Still with us, Daryl Cohen, Molly Palmer, and Josh Schiffer.
Sounds like somebody want to talk about motive right there.
Exactly.
And pick up the mirror, bro. Come on. Only one to benefit is mom. Now, come on.
Okay, explain to me.
We have a family dynamic, 38 years of secrets, 38 years of them living in the same house, but on separate floors. Why wouldn't he divorce her? Would it cost him too much? What was scaring him about what was going on? Who could benefit? Lots of people benefit when big, important, prominent lawyers die. So what I'm picking up
Are we looking for
from
someone
this,
outside of the family? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying the defense has a lot more to work with than what everybody's giving them credit for. I know everybody likes to attach to this good old shucks local prosecutor who's a great guy. He's prosecuted tons of big-name cases all around Georgia since 2006, known cat. But this case very much is a story. And can it follow through? Maybe, but don't go judge this case before you hear from the defense. That marriage had lots of secrets. Those boys have something to hide.
I don't think that marriage had any secrets. That was the problem. They fought. They couldn't live together, so he took a floor, she took a floor. And he could have probably gotten divorced, but it would have cost him a fortune because they had been married for so many years. Didn't get divorced. And mom, certainly, whether she killed him or not, whether she shot him or not, whether she dragged him to the burn pile or not, certainly she would be the person who most benefited. The kids probably would possibly benefit.
Right.
Who knows?
Only if she gets
Right.
convicted, though, right?
Well, and yeah, if she gets convicted, she doesn't benefit. But I think that's strange that if you ask the son, who's going to benefit financially, if the motive is money here and the son says, my mom, you wouldn't say, oh, all of us, myself? I mean, certainly the kids would have some benefit as well. I find it very strange that all of the sons are really quick to point the finger at mom, right? I mean, it's a little bit too much of a deflection.
If the kids were going to do it, why not make it look like a murder-suicide, get rid of both of them, then you clearly get the money.
Oh,
the
interesting.
kids
You really
really
have thought
the kids are
That's why I'm saying it's not the kids.
The kids
I'm
are
defending
unified.
the children.
The kids are unified, and if they're unified the way they appear to be, it was mom.
Yeah.
No, if it's unified like
Okay,
that.
wait. Here we go. The kids aren't the only ones who think that she did it. Take a listen to Chris Farris here again, talk about a conversation he had with his father.
Did he enlighten you on what he thought was wrong with him?
He did.
And what was that?
He said, Chris, I think your mother is trying to poison me.
And what was your reaction?
I said, excuse me. He said, well, it's like she spent the day screaming at me, and I was watching TV in the theater room, and all of a sudden she brings me down some cookies. And I ate the cookies, and my throat started burning. I know they didn't like each other very much.
What's the matter?
All right, man.
You're not buying it.
Don't eat cookies that she made. Buy Oreos.
Yeah.
I'd go to the moon for a load of doom, but I prefer Oreos.
If you're going to kill your husband, you don't start with cookies and then switch to a bullet and then burn.
The cookies didn't work.
I didn't think High School Musical was a tragedy, because that's the level of acting that
We've
I'm picking
seen
up
this
here.
in other cases. We've seen attempted poisonings that didn't work. We're covering a story like that right now out of Utah.
Yeah, and we've seen lots of people kill parents and loved ones for all kinds of wild reasons. What I see here is a dad who's dead, a mom who was on the outs with him forever, kids that after he died obviously got the money because mom had to go live in the poorhouse with the one other kid who might have been cut off as well. So before we just walk down this merry path of it was mom, let's sit back for a minute and go 38 years and she lived on a separate floor, couldn't get away.
Oh, come on,
What
Josh.
kind of
All you got to
monster?
do is do something called file for a big D. And that's
Right.
not Daryl, it's divorce.
And the problem in Georgia, isn't the problem in Georgia, like if the divorce is caused by someone cheating on someone, they are not going to get as much money as they would otherwise get. So if she's cheating on him, she doesn't want a divorce because she's going to get less.
No matter how worth it, divorce. No matter how worth it, divorce is really expensive. And you're right. There's fee shifting. There's all kinds of stuff where if you're the bad actor, you can have apportionment to you. But at the same time, it's not as easy as let's just leave. Why do we have domestic violence in upper income individuals? Because spouses can't escape the golden handcuffs of their abusive spouse's income. That happens all the time.
All
Don't
right,
talk
so
to bad
give me a
spouses.
preview of tomorrow's cross-examination of Scott, the other son that they're pointing the finger at. What are they going to do to him?
I mean, I think so much of it, right? It's the physicality. I mean, that is the unanswered question. Can this little woman truly drag a body? I mean, Daryl seems to think that she can. Truly drag a body all the way out to the burn pit. Is that physically possible? I think you can spend so much time on, obviously, you know, he's a veteran and he is physically fit, as we heard from Matt Johnson. I mean, there's a lot that goes towards the plausibility of his involvement that's just purely, you know, physics and what a body can do.
Do you go full Matlock and accuse, or Perry Mason and accuse him of the murder on the stand?
If you do that, he's a big guy. He's physically fit. He would have taken his dad's body and put it in the trunk, driven it to a place in Cherokee County where people don't go, and dropped it off.
Great point. Great point by Daryl Cohen. Thank you,
The
Daryl.
body disappeared.
Yeah.
There. It's
Hold
all
down.
Daryl. I'll look over
People
here.
don't find it.
Molly
Okay.
Palmer,
C.
Josh Schiffer, thank you all so much. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, former beauty queen Lindsay Shiver was in the midst of a steamy affair with her Bahamian boyfriend when prosecutors say she plotted to have her husband killed. What's her defense? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
You saying you can't recall what happened that night. If you were me, would you believe you?
Change.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board and an alleged bribe. This is potentially good news for Diddy, believe it or not. TMZ is reporting that they've seen a November 2023 text message between Thalia, one of his accusers, and the man who was her boyfriend. In it, she reveals she's planning to sue Diddy because he's the one that has the money. It also appears that she offers to give the boyfriend $3 million if he agrees to back her version of the alleged events. After asking him to attest he's seen the alleged video of the incident, the actual text reads, what do you, and there you go, the $3 million. We've actually spoken with Thalia's ex, who confirmed the validity of the text messages. That's according to TMZ. Meanwhile, Gloria Allred, who represents Thalia, responded, it is very common that rich, powerful men and their supporters attempt to discredit, shame, and humiliate accusers who have the courage to come forward. The complaint speaks for itself. Our client is looking forward to her day in court. Take a listen. Well, we're not going to listen to that. Diddy's attorney has also spoken out, referring to a prior statement on all of this, saying, you know, our day in court, etc. So there you have it, the drama continuing in the Diddy case. All right, folks, I need your attention on the screen in front of you. Take a look at this photo. We have a missing child. This is Harley West Kelm, missing since October 1st of 2024 out of Waco, Texas. Just 17 years old. If you see Harley, pick up the phone, make the call, make a difference. You can call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Waco Police Department in Texas. That phone number is on your screen. Let's see if we can get Harley to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We've got another hour of live true crime straight ahead. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.